For me personally, my character never try to attack my character. They'll say he a rat or he this is that. Yeah. All you got.
People who want to be critical of you will often start by attacking your reputation. In my own case, that is exactly what happened. People try to destroy me and my character by labeling me, calling me a rat, or making unfounded accusations against me. Actually, however, you only have to look at the paperwork. Never in my life have I lied to anyone. My name does show in some instances, but when you dig into the details, you'll realize who actually worked together and who didn't, regardless of guilt or innocence. Whether a person is a citizen or a convicted criminal, the facts are the facts. Only when you are questioned, did you see such and such do this? While on the witness stand, can you say something along those lines? Other than it, nothing exists. But the streets don't always deal with the reality. Perception is involved in these interactions. Moreover, when someone decides to label you, it can be difficult to remove that label. As anyone who knows 50 Cent knows, he's not the kind of man you want to spend a lot of time with. He has an insatiable sense of humor, a sharp tongue, and a talent for captivating his opponents while amusing the crowd. T's career has been dogged by snitching rumors for years, but 50's voice became one of the loudest. That was a hard lesson for me to learn. Wherever he went, it turned into a storm cloud that followed him. On the streets, his name was uttered in the most offensive ways. Fans' viewpoints were questioned, and pure respect was lost. Rather than letting the fire go down, 50 continued to add fuel to it, reminding people of the Crime Stoppers ad and those court cases whenever possible. At first, he made an effort to remain composed and behave as if nothing disturbed him. But there came a time when enough was enough. Alternatively, disregarding the shots, he swung back. The 50 was publicly challenged to a 20-track race by him. To keep things interesting, he did it on his 50th birthday. That move not only made things worse, but it also virtually guaranteed that 50 wouldn't put up with it. 50's answer was standard, a repost of the infamous 2008 Crime Stoppers PSA, in which T told viewers to call the tip line if they had information regarding crimes. Suddenly, the internet blew up. T became popular for all the wrong reasons, admirers joked, and timelines were flooded with memes. This situation is ironic because T and 50 did not always disagree. They used to get along well, collaborate, show mutual respect, and be at the top of the rap game. However, once Tip's identity was linked to that snitch story, it never really disappeared. 50 refused to bury it, so Tip was constantly defending his character. No matter how successful he was, whether in music or something else, and then according to new rumors, T would play the astute lawyer Davis McLean in Power, which Method Man eventually did. According to rumors, 50 Cent himself had blocked the possibility because of their history. T quickly tried to stop that, appearing in public to call it all lies and declare that he and 50 appreciated one another. But 50 never said yes or no to anything. His silence just fueled speculation, with others wondering if T had really been excluded from the circle. In an interview, when asked directly about the rumors, T played things down. According to him, he and 50 were executive producers on a different project outside of Power, and their relationship was turbulent and hard for other people to understand. According to him, they respected each other's unadulterated approach, and there was no animosity. But the most common question among fans remained, why does T still preserve this reputation for being unforgiving? And why does 50 intend to continue making fun of it? It all started with the 2007 case. T was then charged with serious federal weapons offenses. It was a really high stake. He may have been imprisoned for 20 years. In the midst of all of that, he appeared in a commercial for Crime Stoppers, pushing people to take action and stop crime. It might have been his way of boosting his profile or proving his good faith in court, but to the rap community, it seemed like the biggest violation. To maintain street credibility, you must never assist law enforcement in any way. He became known as a snitch overnight because of that commercial, and it remained that way. No one made it louder than 50 either. He ridiculed it, brought it up in interviews, incorporated it into songs, and made sure that continued to exist in the culture's memory. Moreover, it extended beyond online trolling. The conflict was carried into the studio by 50 on Gunnets. "You're tough," he asked, clearly aimed at T, how someone could be found in possession of 10 machine guns and only be sentenced to a year. He hinted that in order for such a light sentence to be given, someone had to be providing information. The question was asked by many, and the entire industry listened intently. T was arrested after his own bodyguard, who subsequently proved to be an informant, delivered machine guns and silencers to him in exchange for cash. Since T was a convicted felon, he was not even permitted to be near a gun, much less purchase a large arsenal. Nevertheless, despite the gravity of the accusations, he was condemned to house detention, community service, and a brief jail sentence, a startling decision. It was incomprehensible to 50 and many others. In interviews, 50 remained evasive even when pressed to do so, letting the public draw the conclusion without specifically naming T, but the damage was already done. The streets were ablaze with gossip, which I could not escape. Even gave 50 the benefit of the doubt in an attempt to remain calm when questioned about it. Federal agents were still closely monitoring him at the time, so he couldn't risk taking too much retribution. He had to fight more significant battles. On the other hand, that type of beef never really goes away. For a while, it might stop talking, but it always returns. And that's exactly what happened in 2020, when Tekashi 6 was already making snitching a hot topic in the community. I doubled his case by NI in court. The re-emergence of the old Crime Stoppers footage online threw T back into the fire. It was at the worst possible moment. 50 immediately seized on it again, producing jokes, ridiculing him online, and making sure that people remembered. He went so far as to say that "You So Tough" would be the first song he played in a versus fight with T by uploading the audio from the diss track in the Crime Stoppers video. He went above and beyond to help anyone who might have forgotten make the link. T did not sit silently this time. He retaliated on the internet, denying any cooperation, denying ever helping the police, and even going so far as to suggest that he might have his own skeletons. He laid down the gauntlet for a confrontation with the Verzus while composing long subtitles that challenged 50 to prove his cleanliness. Declaring the 1950s catalog outdated and expensive, he mocked it and was ready to permanently shut it down. That intensity showed how much the charges had wounded him. 50 had clearly set off a chain reaction. The back-and-forth influenced interviews and Instagram exist. T kept bringing up the Crime Stoppers recording in an effort to defend himself and rewrite the facts. Nevertheless, 50 raised the pressure once again. He posted his own warning and suggested that T should better maintain his distance. That line made the dispute seem more menacing than humorous. Things became considerably more heated after King Von's tragic death in 2020. To avoid bringing violence to Atlanta, T drafted a statement urging people to keep their feuds within their own communities. He could have intended to protect his city, but many saw it as an assault on Von and his camp. Van's sister responded violently, but 50 stepped in again, expanding on her comments and delivering his own biting critique. He told T that he was playing with fire, that people were hurting, and that it was not the time for slick remarks. He was clearly determined to keep the tension up, as seen by another public 50 Cent tipping incident. A fresh round of rumors about T's role in power then surfaced. According to cast members, he was originally supposed to play Davis McLean before Method Man replaced him, which fanned rumors that 50 had iced him out. To shut it down, T stepped on a podcast and declared that it was false and that he and 50 still respected each other. However, 50 again said nothing. And to him, keeping quiet is not a sign of peace but a strategy. Forgiveness and forgetfulness are beyond him. He pauses, reloads, and strikes when the moment is appropriate. Fans remain divided on the saga as a whole. Some argue that T's brief sentence speaks for itself, pointing out that others have received 10 or more years for a single gun, even as T skated with a slap on the wrist despite being found with an arsenal. To them, the whole matter appeared to be one of direct or indirect complicity. Other people on 50, however, changed the narrative to suggest that his own record isn't the best. To them, this feud is all about one strong man using his position to bring down another. In the end, it doesn't appear that T and 50 Cent's dispute will ever be settled. The charges, the Crime Stoppers commercial, the diss songs, and the online posts have all influenced the history of hip-hop. Furthermore, considering 50's mindset, the question is never if he will bring up previous conflicts again, but rather when she will continue to defend his legacy and reputation. But those charges still hang over him no matter what he does. The community is still divided about whether Tip deserves to be labeled a snitch. As long as 50 keeps bringing up the subject, Tip will undoubtedly be unable to fully escape it. Knowing 50, he wouldn't have it any other way. Knowing 50, he wouldn't have it any other way.